All right. Well, thank you guys all for joining. You are here for the Cleveland chapter or Greater Cleveland Wild Ones chapter meeting. I see a few new faces on the line, our names. So if you guys are willing to come on and say hi, we'd love to hear from you and tell us what brought you here to Wild Ones. So Kate, not to put you on the spot, but are you willing to say hi?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Hi. So I am relatively new to the area. I bought a house in Cleveland Heights in November, and I have a pollinator pathway sign in my yard. So that was, I saw that there's a meeting coming up for that. I'm interested in learning what folks have been doing in that regard in the area. And so I figured I'd come on tonight and see if yeah, if the organization seemed like a good fit and how it could be helpful. I moved from California recently. My background is in public horticulture and also in landscape design. I am working part-time at Holden right now and also just getting my design business up and going. So that's
wow, that's fantastic. I was with Sarah, see stuff like, ooh. I know a few people that are going to want to pick your brains because I even just had people messaging me this week on Facebook about like, hey, do you know any native garden designers and landscapers and things like that? And we're always looking to add people to the list, and we love supporting small businesses. So definitely would love to hear more about that. And very excited to always welcome new people to join us and learn more about us and whatnot.
Kate, I want to be clear that I was applauding.
Oh.
I was applauding you, not scheming. I will take a little time to celebrate other people.
All right, and then I see Jennifer on the line. Jennifer, did you want to come on and say hi? Are you able to come on and say hi? Well, if you can't come online or you feel uncomfortable, don't hesitate to just put some comments in the chat if you want to add to the discussion or have questions, because we would love to talk with you guys. So we have several of our officers and board members on the line. So we're really excited to have you guys here and share some of the latest updates with regards to Wild Ones. And with that being said, all right, and with that being said, let me get ready to share my screen. And hopefully I don't know if that actually came up. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Screen. All right, fantastic. All right. I think so. We already did some quick introductions, and then we'll come back and see if anybody has any other questions, thoughts, or like to introduce themselves because they maybe didn't have a chance to talk at the beginning. But we do have a jam-packed schedule, so I want to make sure we get through everything first, and then we'll leave it open for open discussion. So with that being said, I apologize. I think I just started sharing the wrong slide, so I apologize. Give me one moment. Okay. Steph, did you change a slide or two on me?
No, I just I took out that one slide at the beginning. Well, I left a note on it, and then I just added the slides at the end.
Yeah, so that was correct. There was actually 3 new members since our last meeting. So give me 1 second. Let me I apologize. I thought I had the wrong screen up. Apologize. All right, let's try this again, guys. All right, so we've had a really busy month since our last meeting. We've had several events and activities. Ray's laughing because he's been there for like all of it, I think. So you'll see a lot of Ray in these pictures. But one of one of those activities was Earth Day. We were at the Akron Zoo, even though it was a little bit colder, rainier than we'd ideally want. But I thought there was a really great turnout. And besides Ray, we had Keith and Diane and myself there. And we just had a really great time meeting new organizations, people in the Akron Canton area. We were handing out native seeds, courtesy of Webfoot Designs, some literature, and just having some great overall conversations. And on there, you'll also see a little thank you note from the Akron Zoo. So it was really great opportunity for us to partner with them. In addition to that event, we had the LCC Earth Day event. So on here, you'll see Danielle and Ray who were here. So it was just overall a great activity. And for those that you don't know, Danielle, who is also a secretary, is also in charge of the specialty gardens on the site of LCC. So I highly recommend that you guys go check that out sometime. And then in addition, we had our first school partnership activity. And Ray I was contacted by a science teacher at Andrew J. Rickoff about a month or so ago. And they were looking for people in STEM fields that could help teach the kids about careers, but also have activities for them as part of their Science Day event. And so Ray was kind enough to go on behalf of Wild Ones, and same thing with Diane, and Ray was helping them, teach them about seeds. Ray, did you want to add anything to that, or about your experience with regards to that?
Sure, and I'm sorry we didn't get any pictures with Diane in them, but she was taking the pictures, and we had like 30 seconds to put a photo together as kids were lining up to get out the door. So I'm sorry we didn't get her in any of the group shots like that. As you might imagine, with any group of students, there were good actors and bad actors. I'm remembering mostly the good actors in the group. There were such charming kids. I remember talking to one kid just briefly. He was kind of like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to taking this sunflower seedling home and planting it, and I help my grandmother with planting, but oh, sometimes I'm too busy doing my homework and I can't always help her as much as I want to." And just this really genuine, helpful, wonderful kid. That's the kind of person I want to remember as the takeaway from this experience. And there were many other stories like that with such great kids that were really just they couldn't get enough of this. They were just happy to learn and be there and participate with our program.
Well, thank you so much, Ray, for going out. Same thing with you, Diane. So Ray, I know you were teaching, but Diane, I know you're that person behind the scenes and helping the kids plant and everything else. So we really appreciate both of you guys going out. So like I said, really exciting activities with regards to that. And one other thing that I'm really excited to share is that we've also now been contacted this week from the Westlake school system and a class of their 5th graders, and they are in the process of doing some designs with regards to native gardens for a project that they'll be planting at their school. So Shelley Tender and myself will be participating in that probably next week. We're just waiting to confirm time. So really excited with regards to that project. And in addition to that, next month, we'll also be doing our first lunch and learn with a business. And Ray has been kind enough to sign up for that one. And that'll be the week of Pollinator Week. So, so we're really excited to start reaching out to the community in this capacity. So if you hear of things or opportunities, we're happy to start on those, or if you're interested in possibly participating and helping us reach out to the community in this capacity, please don't hesitate to mention that. So other updates. So we have a few new officers or committee members. So we have 4 specifically. So Jack, you want to come on and say hi?
Hello, good evening.
Hi, Jack. Well, Jack has been kind enough to assist as web chair to Julie. And this came out of the Pollinator Pathway project, in that we realized that we're going to need some more web support, and Jack was kind enough to raise his hand. So Jack, you want to say a little bit about something about yourself?
Oh gosh.
Oh, I'm gonna put you on the spot. It's okay.
Yeah, I live in Sagamore Hills in Summit County with my wife Laura, who's also an officer. I think she started a little bit earlier, but we moved to the area, and I grew up in Cuyahoga Falls, but we're excited to convert an old hayfield we have to native plants, and I've been especially excited about all the insects and other wildlife we've been seeing pop up in our yard. Has been a lot of fun. So excited to learn more and to help out where I can.
Great. Well, Jack, we really appreciate your help. So, and he's also raised his hand for many other things as well as Laura. So we really, really appreciate your help. And we're excited to announce, if you haven't already seen on social media, Diane Davis has volunteered to be our treasurer. So near and dear to my heart, we can, this is allowing us to go on the path of once we get a few other things situated, being able to do activities and start maybe planning for ways to do donations and or fundraising, things along those lines. So Diane, would you like to come on and say a little bit something about yourself?
Sure. Yeah, so I mean, I'm kind of still a newbie to native plants and those sort of things, but it's definitely my passion. I mean, I talk about plants all day long, my poor husband. But I live in Uniontown, which is just in Stark County, technically, just on the border of Summit County. But I grew up in Akron, and I've lived in a couple different states, but really started getting into native plants about 3 or 4 years ago when I moved back to Ohio, back to my hometown. And yeah, I have a lot of species in my garden. So I'm just was planting some more stuff today. So, and there's more native plant sales coming up. So buy more plants, plant more plants. So I'm very passionate about it. And so I'm excited to be part of this group that's also passionate about it.
Right. Well, we're excited to have you. And as you saw, Diane has already also been raising her hand in various other capacities, whether it's tabling events or other projects and initiatives. So we're really excited to have her. So in addition, we have a new board member. Her name is Shelley Tender. I don't believe she is on right now, but we're really excited because she comes with a wealth of experience and knowledge when it comes to native plants. She works for the Medina County Park District. She has her own nursery that she donates the plants to the Park District for their plant sales, things like that. She's also on the board of the Rocky River Watershed, as well as other organizations. So we're really excited to partner with her more closely and have her with us and helping us plan activities and things along those lines. So very excited. And in addition, shouldn't say this is a new officer, however, switching positions a little bit, Ray Stewart which like you said, you guys saw. Yes, I appreciate that, Ray. And I love his photo that he shared as a pollinator representative for the Rotary Club. Has agreed to become our vice president. So Ray, would you like to say a few words?
I don't know, everything is just coming together that, you know, I've been on a kind of a mission to install native plants in my own yard and transition that over the last 5 or 10 years into more and more natives, and less turf and that sort of thing. And I found out a couple of years ago that Rotary added an environmental arm to their mission, and within that Rotary arm, environmental mission is what they call Operation Pollination. When I heard that, I signed up. I became a Rotary member because I knew people that were in Rotary, and you know, when I heard that, I said, yeah, I want to do that. And now it's like I'm leading the effort within our local Rotary district to champion Operation Pollination because it's all new to them. And so there's so many things that are just coming together that I feel like the networking in so many ways is going to be profound. We're going to do a lot of things.
Right. Well, we are very excited to have you, Ray, and really appreciate everything that you're doing for the chapter, which I'm sure everyone can see is a lot. So very, very excited to have you with us. All right, so other chapter updates, right? So as I mentioned, we've started working with the local school systems and businesses, so we're really excited with regards to that. We now have a YouTube channel, so I highly recommend you guys check that out. Really excited. It's one of those things that you didn't realize that you wanted until it happened. So Julie, thank you so much for getting us started with our YouTube channel, with whether it's the recordings of our meetings to doing snippets for educational videos. So really excited to have that. That QR code in the upper right hand corner of the screen is to our YouTube channel. So you can just take a little snapshot of it on your phone if you want and check us out. In addition, with regards to website updates, Julie has updated the resources tab to include the latest plant sales and native nurseries. So keep us honest, keep us up to date. If you know of additional native nurseries or plant sales, please share that information with us. And keep in mind that we cover all of Northeast Ohio except for the Youngstown area. So that's quite an area of coverage. So like I said, keep us up to date. We want to make sure we share the information that we have. In addition, we have started to include, I believe, 1 or 2 of the YouTube videos into the website. So you'll continue to see more of those types of activities as we continue to develop the website. In addition, for those that are familiar with one of our educational series from Ground Up, has a tab now. I believe it's under the resources tab, so you can find the information of that series and the video recording of the one class that we have already had with regards to soil. Next thing I want to mention is we want to look at having a larger, greater Cleveland Wild One social to celebrate the chapter's growth, everyone's involvement, and how we continue to grow and everything we've accomplished. And so, we need your help. We want to hear your thoughts and ideas. If there's a really good location we might want to have this at, or activities you might like to see. We're playing around with a few ideas, but we're always open to suggestions. We're probably not looking at June for this one. We're probably looking at more July I'm thinking, just want to make sure we give us time to plan around that type of event and the size. But we'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. And if we have time at the end, I'd love to talk more about that if you guys have thoughts too. And in addition, we are starting to plan out our events and activities for July through the fall. So if you hear something coming up, or you know something, or you have an idea for something, and this can be anything from a walk in the park to seed collecting to, hey, what about this educational topic coverage, to, oh, I know of this native plant sale in August, please raise your hand, share it with us. We'd love to hear about that, if nothing else, to communicate that, but also for us to consider partaking in it. So please email us if you with any of that information, because we'd love to hear about that. So, all right. Next, so volunteers needed. So we are still currently looking for a secretary. Danielle has been kind enough to stay on. She's been a wonderful secretary, but this is not her passion, and she's been kind enough to cover it for us now. But she would like to transition over to working more on environmental justice and restoration initiatives. So if you or somebody you know might be interested in such a position, that is a very key position to our chapter. In addition, we're looking for volunteers for activity event coordination, general upcoming events, which we'll cover in a few moments, social media support, membership committee, that's helping welcome new members or inquiring with people that have potential interest in wild ones, in addition to our learning committee and our pathway project team. So specifically with regards to tabling events, some of the activities that we're looking for volunteers for, on June 10th, we have the Medina County Park District native plant sale, currently as a part of our partnership with Shelley. In addition, we're looking at tabling June 11th at Meadow City Nursery's grand opening, which we have Julie on the line. So if we have time, we might have her come on. And then June 24th, we have a plant sale in Shaker that we'll also be tabling at. And then another thing I would be looking for volunteers is Rotary Park, which we'll have Ray talk about in a few minutes here. So if you are interested in volunteering for any of these activities, please send us an email, and we'll either add you to list, or we'll reach out, we'll talk a little bit further. Or if you just have general questions, like I said, please feel free to reach out, and we're happy to chat with you. Rotary Park is going to handle it a little bit separately, but Ray will get into that. Oops. All right. Stefanie, did you want to give the learning committee update?
I absolutely can. So for those of you who have been part of the chapter, you'll know that our new gardener curriculum from the ground up has been taking place. So we started a couple weeks ago, gosh, it was about 3 weeks ago, learning about soil and learning all about how to kind of get the soil you want, or how to work with the soil that you have in your garden. And so I honestly nerded out about that so much. It was so much fun. And now, conveniently, you can check it out on our YouTube page if you were not able to make the session. So you can go and you can watch that for free. We will also be having some classes coming up soon. Danielle has actually graciously volunteered to teach a class here, not this upcoming weekend, but the following weekend, on picking plants for your garden. And then in June, we are going to be having an identifying invasives workshop that one of our chapter members, Nick Fletcher, is going to be teaching. And that is going to be a very hands-on workshop. So Nick is going to talk to us about some of the most common invasive species, excuse me, in the greater Cleveland area. And then you're going to get down and dirty, and we are going to help to clear some invasive plants from a No-Mow site at the Doan Brook watershed in Shaker Heights. So details for those can be found on our website or by following our Facebook page. And then when we send out our chapter newsletter update in the first week of June, we'll include details on each of those events. So you'll be able to figure out where we're going and what date and what should you wear, what should you pack. So yes, and then we are also in the process of scheduling future classes in the second half of the summer. We'll have a class on integrated pest management. We're going to have a class on putting everything together and kind of designing your garden. And then we're going to schedule a series of garden tours so that you can see some examples of what native plant gardening can do for you and what it can look like. You know, it can be intimidating sometimes if you're just starting out. Try to figure out, like, where do you start? Is this worth it? You know, this is a lot of effort. You have to be very patient, but it can pay off. And so we'll have some opportunities to see some examples of what that can look like, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the road. We were even discussing in our committee meeting an example of a rehabilitated prairie that I think the gentleman has been doing it for like 20 or 30 years. And it has been slowly expanding on some property that he has. So that's going to be a really cool opportunity as well. Also, you heard me mention that we have an upcoming session on pest management. So for next month's chapter meeting topic, instead of having a little educational lecture on any particular topic, we're actually going to open it up for you guys. So please bring your questions, and particularly if you have any pictures that you would be willing to share that you might have about managing pests in your native plant garden, whether that's aphids, things like powdery mildew. You know, we're kind of taking a little more of an open interpretation of what pests are for that. And how do we handle those without pesticides, without herbicides? Excuse me. So we'll be developing what exactly that class is going to cover and some of the details of that based on what you tell us you want to know about. So if you bring your questions, we will make sure that we do our best to answer those in that integrated pest management session. So let us know what specific pests you're trying to manage, and we will try to get those answers for you. That's your learning committee for you, always trying to make sure you get the answers you need.
Thank you, Steph. I feel like that needs to be a little commercial that we need to do a little video of.
The more you know.
All right. So thank you for that. All right. So Pollinator Pathway Project update. Julie, did you want to take this or did you want me to? Did we lose?
You can go ahead, Jessica.
Okay. All right. Great. So let me just shut this over. All right. So for those that don't know, we have officially decided to name the sign/project Northeast Ohio Native Habitat Corridor. And for those that maybe have not attended our meetings, we were really torn between going with more of a traditional pathway name or more of a corridor. And the reason why we have gone more corridor for this is because there are so many great pathways, and we wanted those to still be very, very hyper local and not take away from that. And we opted for that habitat corridor idea because it's something that brings those pathways together, that we can display on a map and show what overall is going on with regards to Northeast Ohio. So really excited about that name being finalized. Jeff Santala, who's the artist that has been kind enough to agree to help design our sign, is still continuing to work on draft of that. And in our last meeting, we have determined some of our next steps. And that is, you know, we'll be reaching out to the nursery owners that have expressed an interest in partaking in the kit idea, and you know, helping finalize possibly the plants and or the price that might, you know, be settled on for that kit. And that kit, for those that are new to this, the project team had identified roughly 6 to 9-ish plants that would be ideally a starter kit for a pollinator pathway. And it's just a nice, easy intro to native plants. And this is just to make that, it's a great way to learn about native plants in general for those that are new. In addition to this, we'll be starting on working on a base website. Thanks to Jack and Julie. We'll be looking at the website application and the criteria for that. In addition, we'll be looking at creating some initial information to be provided in a brochure and or one-pager. And if everything goes really well, we're hoping to at least have some introductory information to share in time for Pollinator Week. No guarantee on that, but that is our target, so we can at least start just providing some literature and start creating some excitement with regards to a launch for this. And then for those that are interested in partaking in our project team meetings, our next meeting will be next Thursday at 6 p.m. So, any questions with regards to Pollinator Pathway Project? Okay. All right. Next, upcoming chapter events and activities. We have a lot coming up, and we have even more that's not on this list. So, as I mentioned, we have the Pollinator Pathway Project meeting next Thursday, followed by next Saturday, not this one. We have the From the Ground Up Picking Plants for Your Gardening Conditions, which Danielle is kind enough to lead, and it will be at Julie's Meadow City Nursery location. So this will be a hands-on, in-person session. So really excited to have that. Then we have our nature walk at Bacon Woods Walk-in Center. So this is in Vermillion. This will also be led by Danielle. Thank you again, Danielle, for volunteering for these activities. Followed by Saturday, June 10th, we have the Medina County Park District Native Plant Sale. So like I said, anybody that's interested in helping me table for this event, please raise your hand, send me an email. We'd love to have you. And then the day afterwards, we have Meadow City Nursery's grand opening. So Julie, do you want to come on video for a quick moment? Is that a no? So Julie,
I had to
do
find
you
the
want to do a
button.
little plug for, since your grand opening's coming up? Do you want to give a plug
Sure.
to yourself?
Eek. So I am a co-owner of Meadow City Native Plant Nursery. We're opening a retail location in Cleveland. So you'll be able to come and shop during our regular hours. We're going to be open Thursdays through Sundays. And our openings on Sunday, June 11th, we're going to have like our neighboring sausage place is going to have a pop-up. We're going to have some local conservation orgs with information there, and we're going to have lots of plants. So come see us.
Yes, or get a sneak peek at the From the Ground Up series next week.
Yeah, it will be in progress. You'll get to see the hopefully the progress from then till the opening.
Yeah, so definitely go check out her nursery. And for those that are new, we have a few native nurseries that are part of our group. So highly recommend checking all of them out. Like I said, we always try to support small businesses. So, all right. So, and then followed by our, next and more mid-June, we have our Wild Ones chapter meeting, which will be Thursday, June 15th. For those that are new, our chapter meetings are always the third Thursday of every month. And then we have on June 17th, the From the Ground Up Identifying Invasive Species. This will be an in-person in Shaker Heights. As Steph said, you'll be getting dirty on this one, but I'll be very curious as to how to get rid of my honeysuckle. I know it's incredibly invasive and not pretty to remove, so look forward to seeing how that's done. And then we have a plant sale and garden viewing at our member Ann's house in Shaker Heights, June 17th, and Julie and Meadow City Nursery will also be a part of that. Sorry, I said June. I meant to say June 24th. And then we have the Rotary Park native plant installation on Sunday, June 25th. Like I said, we have actually a few events on here, not on here. And we have even more planned out for the rest of the year, but we want to hear from you so we can keep adding to our calendar. So if you're interested in participating or having questions, please send an email to wildonesgreatercleveland@gmail.com. All right, oops. All right, so Ray, would you like me to stop sharing and you can present to talk on the Rotary Park project?
Yeah, if I can share from my screen, because I've made some changes since I sent you that one.
All right, not a problem. I'm going to make you host now, and then when you're done, just pass it back to me.
Okay.
All right, you're in charge, sir.
See if I know how to do this. All right, do you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, you're looking at the Rotary wheel in Amherst Rotary Park in my hometown, just a couple blocks from where I live. And you can see by the plaque that this was started in 1990. A nice little park in the middle of town. And I am busy recruiting volunteers to help with this. Sunday, June 25th, starting at 1 p.m. Although the local Rotary is actually going to be starting at 10 o'clock in the morning to get prepped for all the volunteers, because I have hundreds of plants at my house that need to get moved 2 blocks up to the park where they're going to get planted. I've got a couple hundred now and should have hundreds more if everything works out by June 25th. So here's the address. Cleveland Avenue is the main thoroughfare into downtown Amherst, old downtown Amherst, I should say. It is in the front yard of the University Hospital. We're going to do this rain or shine. You know, the plants are eager to get in the ground, and there's no suitable alternate date available. So whatever happens, we're gonna do some serious planting on this date. So this was the cleanup crew just a week or so ago. We went and started prep work on this. We cleaned up some weeds and debris and stuff like that to spruce it up, and it's been looking much better because of our effort. Some of the local Rotary crew here with me, some of the old timers that have been doing this told me a lot of stories about what it was like in 1990 when they started to put this in, and a good bit of the history of this. And to the right in this picture is Christina Meyer, our Amherst Rotary Club president, and her daughter up in the tree, Abigail. This is going to be a high-profile event. We are getting volunteers. We're already posted on Girl Scouts. It's a featured event for the local Girl Scouts to sign up and join in on that date. We're going to have the activity day and follow up with educational days for those same Scouts about environment, ecology, and native plants, so that they can earn a badge. Some of the Rotary members are connected with Boy Scouts. They're recruiting them. Of course, we'll have Rotarians. I just heard registration from the club that I'm a member of, which is called Pathways Rotary. It's an international online Rotary group. Our president and his wife are coming up from Columbus to join us in that event. I've also heard that at our district level, our environment district chair over in Toledo is coming in and is recruiting friends from that area to see what the heck is going on in Amherst. Of course, we've got Wild Ones volunteering, and we've got invitations out to public officials like the local mayor, members of city council, and our state representative are all on the invitation list. So we'll be inviting the press in to also share in the excitement and put articles in the local newspapers to show what is happening here for pollinators in little old Amherst. So what we'll be doing that day, layout, I've got a design already made. So we'll be showing everyone what the layout of the design is. We're going to be digging, we're going to be planting, and we're going to be watering. Just the basics. We're going to get plants in the ground and get this thing started. The location is really the front yard of the little hospital here in Amherst, which is now owned by University Hospitals. It's small compared to other local hospitals. It doesn't even have an emergency room anymore. But it's what we've got here in town. Rotary doesn't own the park, but they have an agreement with the hospital to use the grounds. I don't think it's less than an acre altogether, but it's pretty nice. They never really had the environment in mind. They were just always looking for what was pretty, what would be appealing, what would be a nice place to sit and visit. And so, you know, they use the typical things. So crab apples, saucer magnolia, you know, things that, you know, were just readily available in the landscape trade and looked good. Thinking primarily, as most landscapers would, with human aesthetics and not with nature in mind. But now, as I mentioned earlier, a couple of years ago, Rotary has adopted the environment as one of their areas of focus, including Operation Pollination. And so this project leads right in to a new mission for our local Rotary Club and for Rotary International. Actually, this is a global effort. So this is just a local expression of that. What to bring? Should you choose to join us, please bring a shovel, trowel, water bottle, probably you know, gloves if you like using gloves to dig in the dirt, sturdy footwear, just in case you have to manage a shovel. And register, so I have some idea what kind of numbers are showing up. We can share this URL, but this will give me your contact information and let me know who is coming. So please register at webfootdesigns.com/events if you plan to attend. All right, so this is what the site looks like. Here's the wheel. A major concrete bench doesn't look that inviting. We're gonna spruce that up a little bit, but gives you an idea of the investment that the club made back in 1990. We're gonna make this look a little bit nicer. They did put new flags in this year. When I first scoped out the site, I said, those flags have been up there for years. So one of the first things they did was they got brand new flags to post in the main feature garden of the Amherst Rotary Park. There are benches that have been here for many years. They're very sturdy. A nice place to sit and chat in the shade during the summer in this lovely location. We're going to spruce this up a little bit around these benches as well, because as you can see right here, there's a lot of open garden space, just kind of a mulched bed around the benches with no intentional planting. That's going to get changed. So here's a look at the main target. This bed, some in the shade, some in the sun, along this part of the park is where we're going to do our primary pollinator garden. This is it from a little different angle, kind of looking north. And this is what it will look like should we be able to execute this plan. So you're looking down at the bottom, you can see kind of a diagonal as a sidewalk. This view would be hovering over the street that looks upon this. I didn't have decent flags from the software I use, so they're just exaggerated putting green flags. This is Rotary Park. There's some benches and tables for people to sit. Over to the right is a bed that they've always maintained with annuals, which is what the most public view, the most curb appeal is going to be. They're going to continue to put annuals in that bed, but over to the left, underneath the pink flowering crabapple trees and stretching on back, that's the area that we're going to work on, which has nothing except these woody plants in there right now. This project will put in the understory. Here's a view looking north, kind of at the same place, or northeast. You can see the lower right here shows a full sun area. The other stretches into a in and out of the shade kind of landscape. Here you're looking towards the west to see both the woody plants and the perennials that will be put in around and beyond them. This is kind of a close-up without the woody plants in it, just to show kind of what the design setup is. Sorry, this is what I'm limited to with my design software are these shapes. But quite a variety in here, kind of the middle ground and heading north more and more. So we have this all set up, and this is kind of what we hope, kind of a rough rendition of what this park will be like once this phase of the project is completed, complete with butterflies and birds singing. Imagine that. So under the shade, there's shade-loving plants. In the sunnier parts, there's sun, and there's transitional plants with a variety of colors and textures and seasons of bloom. Plenty of things to appeal to the eye and to the local ecology as well. More than 500 plants will be introduced into this bed. I have already assembled here at home more than 200 of the 500 estimated plants that I will need. So we are well on our way. I'm putting out a list of plants that are still needed, and trying to get bids for what it is that I don't already have. I may have to travel all over the state to get everything I want, but June will be the time to complete that assembly. We'll end up, using whatever we were able to get at the time in order to complete this. So as you can see, this is a pretty ambitious project. We need volunteers. Please, it's going to be a lot of fun should you decide to come and participate. It's really going to make a big difference in the Amherst Rotary Park. And it'll be a substantial public event, community pulling together to make this happen. And there you have it.
Great, thank you, Ray. And Ray, one thing I'd recommend if you're able to, because I know you're heading out to Costa Rica tomorrow, so I don't know how feasible this is, but when you have a moment, if you can maybe provide a list of the plants or how many of certain ones that you're still looking for. And because
Yeah.
several of our members do have either their own private nurseries or volunteers, plant volunteers, that they might be able to contribute towards the project. So
Right, so I've sent that list out to a couple of growers already. This just, this version of the design just got completed this afternoon, and then the list it is now ready to share. So this just happened within hours, and yes, I will get that out to you and a couple other growers, and please share. In 2 weeks, I'll be back, and we'll review the input I get to find out what I can get and where. And you know, at retail prices, we're looking at many thousands of dollars worth of plant material. I'm not sure I can afford it all, but we'll see what I can get.
well, that's all we can hope for. So thank you so much, Ray. And I definitely look forward to diving out, going a little bit more in depth next month too. So we can share with members what some of the plant choices are leading into Pollinator Week, so that way people can get ideas for their own gardens or maybe other community projects. So thank you.
Yeah, and I'd be happy to hear from Kate, who is a designer, and Danielle, who I know is doing the same kind of thing, and any others. This doesn't have to be the absolute carved in stone version, since nothing's in the ground yet. I'm happy to hear what other people think, and we'll gladly accept feedback.
Hey,
So I
Ray,
can-
we've got a question from the chat. Crystal wants to know, can teens who are not scouts come help?
Teens who are not scouts. Yes. For minors, I expect to have an adult chaperone or parent. And one of the things that everyone needs to know is that we are in a park on a Sunday afternoon. There is hot dog heaven a couple of blocks down the street, should anybody need a hot dog or the facilities that they generously share with the public.
Awesome. Thank you, Ray.
Ray, anything else to add?
That's it. I mean, I've been working fast and furious to get what you saw today completed. It's been no small effort to
No, I'm impressed. I saw the difference from yesterday to today, so we all appreciate it.
So yeah,
kudos.
I've been hoping to get to this point before taking a break, and you know, I'm happy I'm there, and certainly a few more emails to get some of the background data on that design to you. I can update. I think I can update the slides since the one I gave you yesterday.
Great, thank you. All right, so the only other thing I want to add with regards to this topic is Wild Ones is going to be responsible for a special educational event for the Scouts that will occur most likely 2 to 3 months after the event. So we're most likely looking at September. There's a chance it could be August, where we'll invite those Scouts that participated, and possibly those that maybe didn't, for an opportunity to earn an additional badge or two around the education around native plants and pollinators. So that'll be a special separate event related to this. And we are looking at possibly having it at the actual Rotary Club within the, like, if, assuming weather's well, like going back to the location and looking, you know, at the plants that have then been established for a couple months at that time. So assuming weather's well. So more information to come. Obviously, this is continuing to develop, but we're really, really excited for this project. So any last minute questions before we move on to the next topic? All right, Ray, can you pass host back to me?
Yeah, tell me how to do that.
So right next to my name, hover over it and you'll see 3 dots and right click it. And then you should be able to change me back to host. Thank you. All right, let me switch back. All right, let me skip over some of these. All right, Steph, you are up.
Hooray! Hey, did you guys know that it's No-Mow May? Also, did you know that it's very difficult to say No-Mow May quickly? I challenge you to try it. So some of you may be aware that it is No-Mow May, and Diane, I can see you trying to say it fast right now. This is fantastic. Thank you. Some of you may be aware that it is No-Mow May, and in the process of researching this topic, I actually found some local news that just earlier this month, our Cleveland Heights mayor issued an executive order declaring the city's participation in No-Mow May. So Cleveland Heights is participating in this, and they are, kind of pulling back on the mowing of municipal land to try to promote, plants that are going to support our pollinators. So according to Bee City USA, No-Mow May is a quick and catchy name for a movement that is a gateway to understanding how we share our lawns with many small creatures. So it's one little activity. Actually, it's what we're asking you to do is a lack of activity, but it is a sort of it starts a conversation about how we can better support native pollinators, which is part of everything that we've been talking about tonight. So just as a little bit of background, No-Mow May actually started in the United Kingdom, but in the past 5 or 6 years, it has really picked up some steam in the United States, which is really cool to see. So the goal of No-Mow May is we ask people to pause their mowing of their lawn in the early spring. This allows flowers to bloom, and those flowers are then possible or able to feed early season pollinators, whether those are bees or other types of pollinators. I've actually seen a few butterflies in my yard this week, so that's been very exciting. But we want to make sure that those pollinators have a food source. And so we ask people to stop mowing their lawn so that those flowers can grow. Yep, some of them are dandelions, some of them might be weeds, but they are an essential food source for those pollinators early in the season. So then we talk about low mow spring. So No-Mow May might feel like a really, maybe a bit of an intense commitment for a lot of folks, depending on where you live, depending on sort of the norms in your neighborhood. A lot of folks might not feel comfortable letting their entire lawn just kind of do what it wants to do for a whole month. I know that our lawn, my fiance and I have had a lot of conversations in the past couple of weeks where we'll look out on a Friday afternoon and be like, oh man, we got to mow the lawn. It's looking real shaggy. So we've been adopting more of a low mow approach just to make sure that we're not angering any of our nearby neighbors. So low mow spring, this is an approach that acknowledges that not everybody's going to be able to participate in no mow. So it says, okay, well, what if you just kind of pull back on the mowing a little bit? So maybe you don't need to mow every week. Maybe you can mow every 2 weeks or, maybe even 3 weeks. That less frequent mowing is going to accomplish the same overall goal of increasing the number and variety of pollinators that are in their lawns over time. So if you do this year, you do No-Mow this year, you'll have some impact, but then also, that's going to create a positive environment for those pollinators. And then next year, you'll probably have more pollinators, and it just kind of accumulates over time. And what's important to call out here is that longer grass, I saw Ray popped in the chat and said, hey, we always want to make sure that regardless of how frequently you're mowing, mow that grass real high, because the longer we allow that grass to get, the deeper those roots can grow. And those roots are also really important because that helps with stormwater resiliency. Because the roots basically break up the soil underneath the turf, and it allows more rainwater or stormwater to saturate into the earth, into the soil, instead of going into our local sewage systems and water processing systems. So we want to try to promote that as well. And I love this sign. I've seen this in a few different places when folks are doing No-Mow or low-mow activity. Pardon the weeds, we're feeding the bees. So I'm hoping to get one of those signs for my yard as well. Okay, so this is where things get really interesting, guys. And I got a little deep on this as I was doing the research, because for me, the question came up, okay, well, if I do No-Mow or low-mow and I'm letting those dandelions grow, well, dandelions aren't native to North America. And in fact, a lot of the plants that are flowering in my yard right now are not native to North America, or even Ohio, or certainly not Ohio. So a lot of the flowering plants that are found in lawns are themselves non-native and may not be a great source of nutrients for native pollinators. I found some research demonstrating that dandelions are low in protein and are also known to suppress other flowers, and are not really a great food source for native bees. They might be a great food source for bees like bumblebees, but those are not native to North America. So one of the things that you can think about long-term as you're thinking about how can your yard better support pollinators is to consider a seed mix that's called a bee lawn seed mix. So these are seed mixes for grasses and turf that are going to be tolerant of foot traffic and mowing while still making space for those pollinators that we want to try to support. Another thing that we want to make sure we remind you to do before you just let your lawn grow as long as it wants to grow, check with your city, check with any homeowners association that you may be a part of. You want to check those ordinances, check those guidelines. This is a great opportunity for you to kind of learn about, what is your community's approach to plants, to, the gardens that we can develop, and what do we want to do to promote native plants. And also can become an opportunity for you to educate, local community leaders and your neighbors. But we do just want to make sure that we're checking those rules before we commit to this, to make sure that we're not going to get ourselves into any sort of legal trouble. I've got a buddy on the south side of town who makes a point of letting his grass grow as long as he legally can, and he'll get it to like just millimeters under the height limit before the city can give him a ticket. And he just really enjoys agitating the city that way, which is a fascinating, just quirk of one of my friends. The other thing that is also really useful to check out, if you haven't seen this already, Wild Ones actually recently published a blog post about how to deal with the weed police when they come knocking. So we've got the link here. If you go to wildones.org/native plant ordinance, you can learn more about this. And they also have offered a model ordinance that can serve as a starting point for municipalities if you want to work with your local community to introduce an ordinance that is going to incorporate native plant language into the law. There are some examples for how to do that. So then you're being proactive about making sure that your community is promoting native plant gardening, while also, having some standards about how we want yards to look, or, making sure that everybody's kind of keeping things in line. So those are also some resources you'll want to check out. Jess, if we could go to the next slide. So I just wanted to summarize a couple key points from that Wild Ones blog post. So how do you deal with the weed police? If you receive a warning or an actual ticket because you have allegedly violated a local law or ordinance, you have the right to ask which law you've broken. And you can totally ask for a written copy of what that violation is and the law that it's based on. When you get that, take a look at it, really read through that. Does the ordinance define what is a weed? If not, or if so, rather, if it defines what a weed is, can you provide information demonstrating that native plants are not weeds? So that's a really important thing to keep in mind, and will probably help you to facilitate some conversations with your community leaders and local officials. So it's possible that the official is just visiting you because your neighbors may have called somebody and your neighbors don't know that native plants are not weeds. So this is a great opportunity where you can educate local officials on what's the difference between a native plant that we may just not be familiar with, and what would we consider actually like a problematic plant or a weed. You can also develop some contact and some relationships with local community leaders. When you provide that education, they may just go ahead and dismiss any, warnings or tickets that you may have been issued, clear up those alleged violations. But this can also lead to a new understanding on the part of those community leaders and those local officials of what native plantings can do and what value they bring to our communities. So if you've been in contact with those local officials and educating them doesn't lead to a citation being dismissed, the next step is to kind of, say, okay, what are we going to do next? Well, we're going to need to know when we're going to appear in front of that court or those city officials. So you can prepare for that meeting. You should definitely always prepare for these kinds of meetings. Read your citation, know the local law that's involved. And also you are encouraged to reach out to professionals who may be experts in these kinds of topics. As a side note, another research rabbit hole that I have fallen down recently and that I have personally find very entertaining is tree law. There's a whole field of law and like legal practice focused on trees. And there are lawyers who have built careers just on dealing with trees and like how people negotiate, trees that cross property boundaries or things like that. It's really, really fascinating. So there are definitely experts out there who will be able to help you and provide you with advice and support as you're dealing with these kinds of situations. There's also a wild lawyers team associated with Wild Ones. The fine print here is that wild lawyers cannot represent you, but they can offer suggestions on how to handle this situation and how to resolve that matter in a way that's, acceptable for everyone involved. So if you need help from a wild lawyer, just email support@wildones.org and let them know that you're looking to talk to a wild lawyer about your situation. But overall, we want to look at these, kind of situations or these kind of interactions as opportunities to, use that new model ordinance to educate our communities, update outdated language that might exist in those rules or those guidelines, and just do what we can to continue to promote the use of native plants in our communities. Justin, we got one more slide and we'll wrap it up. Just to bring it back to No-Mow May and the low-mow spring. If No-Mow May doesn't work for you, if that's just not something that's going to be feasible for your situation, there's some additional ideas here that you can take on to promote pollinator health. So these could just include mow less frequently, like we said, that idea of low mow. If no mow doesn't work for you, try low mow. You can adjust your mower height to the highest setting. You don't want to mow more than 1/3 of the grass blade at a time. Like we said earlier, that's going to help the grass to develop deeper roots, which is going to help with that stormwater runoff and is just going to help with the resiliency of your lawn. We also want to stop applying herbicides as much as possible and provide natural nesting sites for bees. So this will require some research because there are lots of different species of bees. And actually about 70% of bees are ground nesting and overall 90% of bees are solitary nesting. So not all bees belong to hives. And so it's going to be really valuable to provide some alternative nesting sites, things like bee hotels. You may have seen those at your local garden store. If you are in a situation where you can't, just convert your entire lawn into native prairie, That's fine. What about turning a small patch of your lawn into a native wildflower garden, or try to incorporate native plants into your existing garden? And then if you are able to, planting native trees actually can be a really great source of food for pollinators. These are going to provide more food for pollinators than any lawn could. The trees, native trees, they're going to beat out those dandelions any day. So lots of options here for how we can promote pollinator health and pollinator, robustness in our communities and in our gardens. But yeah, definitely check out No-Mow May or Low-Mow Spring if those are activities that you can take on as we're trying to promote native plant gardening.
Thanks, Steph. So any questions for Stefanie? Or just something people want to bring up with regards to this topic?
Okay, I have a question. So often we describe a turf as sterile landscape. It's just a monoculture that does nothing for nature. And now, in contradiction to that, No-Mow, Low-Mow scenarios say, well, there is habitat here if we can just allow it. So it seems like there's a possible dissonance between those two concepts.
I will fully acknowledge that that is entirely possible. I do think that, to go back to the quote that we had at the beginning from Bee City, USA, No-Mow, Low-Mow, I think these are really great. I consider them gateway activities to native plant gardening, because that's the kind of thing that is going to get folks more interested in, okay, well, what else can I do? If I can avoid mowing, because I'll be honest with you, my first interest in native plant gardening was not because I was, really dedicated to saving the bees. My interest in native plant gardening is because my fiance and I bought a house and realized how much lawn we have to mow and thought, how can we reduce the amount of mowing that we have to do? And so that's when we started doing research on native plants, and we've started adding little spots of native plant gardens to our lawn, so that we can eventually get rid of most of our lawn just to save ourselves some time and effort. And I think something like Low-Mow or No-Mow can be a great gateway for someone who maybe hasn't explored native plant gardening before, or hasn't heard about, some of the ways that they can contribute to that. It kind of gets them interested. It gets them hooked, because now they're going to start paying attention to that conversation. So yes, I will definitely agree with you. And I'll fully admit that I have limitations in my own knowledge. So I definitely encourage folks to do some additional reading, do some additional research. But I think this is a great way to just kind of, just get people in the door, get them in the door, and then we can pull them into that conversation about how we can promote pollinator health.
Yeah, I like what you say about gateway, because thinking of your lawn as an ecology, whatever its value may be to that ecology, but thinking of that little postage stamp that it may be as an ecological asset is kind of an entry. And if that, first step is, mow half as many times, or set your mower height up a notch or two. Those are good for many reasons. Even though it may still be a turf grass monocultural wasteland, it's still good to do that for just because it helps the soil. It helps infiltration. For mechanical and physical reasons, it's a good start. And then if you're beginning to think of it as an ecology, and maybe, oh yeah, all right, I'm going to have more violets, I'm going to have more dandelions, I'm going to have at least something where there was nothing.
I love that idea, Ray. That idea of like, hey, something is better than nothing. And, when I've worked with other organizations before on different sort of volunteer topics, the phrase that I always love is, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. You know, and yes, No-Mow, low-mow, it may not always be a perfect solution, but it is something. And that's the kind of thing we want to encourage, is just if everyone could take a little bit of action, you know, that's going to move us closer to the goal that we're trying to achieve.
Great question. Anybody else? My question to the group, since we have a few minutes before we wrap up, is there anybody new on the line that is not necessarily into native gardening yet? And this is a newer concept. Anybody? Let me just check chat. Okay. Oh, I guess not. I guess we have at least people somewhat versed in this. So thank you, Stefanie, so much for sharing your research on these topics. I think it was a really great discussion and thought that went into this, and hopefully more people are, you know, just are a little bit more aware now going forward. All right, so next,
Jessica, really quick, it looks like we've got a question coming in from the chat. Jennifer's saying her audio won't work.
okay. Oh, okay, so Jennifer, did you want to type your question?
Can I give Julie money?
I'm pretty sure the answer is yes.
Yes, you can always give me money.
To clarify,
Money
at the
for
native
plants
plant
is good too.
at the native plant sale.
Oh, for membership.
Oh, membership.
Stefanie, would you mind putting the join link for membership?
Yep, I will do that. I'll pull that up right now and I'll drop it in the chat.
Yes. So so Jennifer, thank you so much for asking that question and giving clarification. So what we can do is we'll put a join link within the meeting chat, and this is for anyone else that's not a member that might be interested in becoming a member. There's a variety of memberships available, and please note that we are a nonprofit organization. Actually, the screen I'm on also has a QR code to join as well. So, but you can go either route. And we are a nonprofit organization. So, you know, it's all tax deductible. Also, I highly recommend, depending on who you work for, certain organizations do donation matching, and memberships do count as a donation. So, you know, we love, I'm very excited that you're interested in becoming a member. Every little bit helps, whether it's volunteering to becoming a member and having those funds, you know, help fund chapter activities, but also things on the national level, like seed grants and things like that. So thank you so much for asking that question. And thank you, Stefanie, for posting that in the chat. So calls to action, guys. So, you know, a few things that we want to call out, you know, Facebook, you know, please, if you are on social media and on Facebook, please follow us, like our posts, maybe add us as a favorite within the option at the top of your screen of Facebook. And the reason why is because we share many posts throughout the week, usually on average close to 10 posts a week with regards to articles, educational pieces on certain species, to things going around in the chapter. And it's very easy to fall out of the algorithm with regards to social media. So by selecting us as a favorite and or liking our posts or commenting, lets Facebook know and or those other social media institutions know that you are still interested in following us, but also, you know, please, one of our key missions is to share this knowledge and help educate and promote these other events and activities, whether it's ourselves or our community partners. So please also feel free to share that. Please also check out our YouTube channel. We're really excited about that. We'll also be sharing like our chapter meeting that we're recording today, as well as snippets on the educational pieces. Also, if you have friends, family members, colleagues, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, please feel free to invite these individuals. Like I said, this is a key part of our mission. Please invite them to follow us. Also, as we mentioned earlier in the meeting, if there are any events you are aware of that wild ones would be interested in participating in, whether it's because it's native plants, or maybe it's one of these spring or summer festivals or things along these lines within your communities, please share that with us. Like I said, we're really excited. We cover a very large area, and we are looking to schedule more events, especially as we're getting closer to summer and fall. As you can see, we are looking for more volunteers. We're excited to have more members. So please email us if there's something that you saw that we are looking for, or even if there's not something you saw, but you're interested in volunteering and you just want to have a conversation with us, there's other ways to partake in volunteering. So don't hesitate to reach out to us and say, hey, I'm not sure what I want to do yet, but I really want to volunteer with you guys. We're happy to have this conversation with you. And last of all, if you're not already a member, please join us. We're really excited. We're growing fast. We have a lot of things coming up. We're hoping to only continue to grow. You know, we're planning a larger social for this summer. And there's so many more things that we can do together. So please join us, become an official member. So those are our big calls for action. Any questions with regards to those? All right, so we have about 7 minutes. You are welcome to drop, but also I want to leave these last couple minutes open for questions, thoughts, ideas. You heard that we're looking to hear from you guys about either activities, events, or just ideas in general, or maybe you have a question about membership or anything else that's on top of your mind. So this is a free for all, guys. What do you guys want to talk about? What questions, thoughts, ideas do you have? I think we have one of our new members on the line that wasn't on at the beginning. Is Crystal on the line? Crystal, do you want to come on and say hi? Or are we going to be shy?
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can. Oh, you're still sick.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry, hon. I don't mean to make you struggle.
No, that's okay. Can you guys see me or just hear me?
Just hear you.
Okay, well, you probably can't barely hear me. But I wanted to, it's kind of funny. I was actually outside gonna take a picture of my backyard versus my front yard. And just, you know, we live in the same community. My backyard is like knee-high grass right now. And I did it because of our talk, our chat.
Well,
I don't
good
know
for
if you
you
can understand
participating
me.
in No-Mow. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So I think we would love to see your photos. So I apologize. I was hoping your voice was getting better, but
I'm sorry, I can hear.
sorry, I didn't hear that, Crystal.
The only thing I heard was No-Mow.
Oh. It's okay, Crystal. Don't worry about talking about it, but we would love to see your photos of what you're doing. So thank you for sharing that experience. And hopefully the next time you're on a call with us, you're feeling a little bit better. So
thank you, I appreciate it. So,
yeah.
you know, my front yard looks, you know, city appropriate, but my backyard, good thing I have privacy fences.
Yep, nope, that's a perfect example. What I think, Stefanie was talking about, sometimes there needs to be a little bit of a compromise to avoid
Right.
certain troubles or societal expectations, but progress is still progress. And every little bit helps. So thank you so much.
Yeah, well, Jess, you're the one that taught me that. So thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So, any other thoughts, ideas, questions, guys? Going once, going twice. All right, I'm calling it, guys. Thank you guys so much for your participation. We're really excited about everything going on and everything we have accomplished. So we hope to hear from you sooner than later, whether it's by volunteering or reaching out to us on social media. And please check out some of our upcoming events. Like I said, especially the information sessions that are coming up starting again next week, or our pollinator pathway, things like that. So check us out. I hope to see you. And if nothing else, hope we'll see you in another month. Okay. Thanks, guys.